Okay, so right here we have our mountains we created in the previous tutorial. Okay, let me put it up, put it a little bit, drop down right here on the ground. Take my camera, bring a little bit closer so we can preview, and maybe just take my sun position so we can see a little bit better with shadowing on the mountains. Okay, and normally when I start work with the materials, you can go ahead, open your material editor and start work from the scratch, or in many cases I actually using already pre-made one and base it on this. It's make much easier. If you click on an icon to open the material selections, you notice Vue come with a very large already library of the free, or you can purchase some materials. It's quite a bit extensive library right here. And when you start working with your materials, you'll notice you create new one. You can save in your own, and you can create your own extensive library of materials. And of course, anytime when you create it, you can go ahead, go to the Cornucopia and look for some. In time, you create a very extensive library. Just example, for many years, I work with Vue. I create materials for different projects, and like example right here, this is over 600 materials. It's available in Cornucopia if you want it, and it's kind of in a time you're creating, so you don't need necessarily purchase that. It does help you to have your own library, extensive library of materials. You don't spend time, but again, remember, in time when you start working, you will create your own materials which you'll reuse quite a bit. So in many cases, let's look just example. Right here we have the grass. So if we select the grass, it will be our base material. And we can see we already have our mountain applied to this. Okay, now we can open material editor, and you can see we have a predefined grass material with bumps map selected. The material actually done a little bit more complex, and if we're going in function editor, and I don't want to scare you right now in the beginning, but it is very a powerful tool to create your functions, how they work. Overall, again, it's just overview, but you can see how the material was created inside with the distribution of two different colors by using the grainy fractal. So just overall, okay. Here we have it. Same as we apply bump map to this. Some highlights. It's no transparency on the grass, no reflection, no translucency because it's not kind of like materials. We want to have it solid. By the way, if you apply transparency, reflection, translucency, it will also increase render time. And as effect, we can see our diffuse ambient set to the 1640 as a pre-default. We have luminosity and contrast set to the some 11%. This is very default settings. Okay, let's go ahead and create another layer. And I want to create layer maybe rock. So we can create click new. It's by default will open this material selections. If we just click OK or select cancel, it will create default the gray material, so we can modify this. Okay, or you can already preload it, some already pre-created. So let's go to landscape. On this case, I want to create a rock. So I'll just go select some, again, rock, and you notice the default name. It's what I said before. It's not very descriptive to me. So in a rock material, it's a mixed material. Before we work with a simple material, mixed material, it contains two simple materials that mix together by all of these settings, and they're actually straightforward. So you have two materials. You have it how the one material distributed on the top of another material. We have it also alpha, transparency on them, influence of those materials, and also presence of the materials. One thing right here, you'll notice it is a percent of the how much of one material is showing over another one. So if you think you need more rocks, you can move a little bit more this way. So to adjust this. Also, alpha boost by default is -50, so it doesn't show very good. You want probably reset to the 0, so it's kind of overlay our materials right here, and kind of will affect. One thing you'll notice at this point, our one material rock kind of overlay of the grass material that we have it under. And in many cases, when I work with materials, I want to create kind of logical composition. So in this case, grass will be better if on top. It's okay. What you normally do, you select the material like a rock, and just let's put it down. So in this case, we organize. We take our rocks and we put it below the grass material. And right now we can start work with our grass material. So let's go ahead, click on environment. And on environment, I want to actually grass materials maybe be right here on the bottom. So I'm going to select, and you can preview where it's going. Again, we work with a world standard. So it's meaning if we copy this material to another object terrain, the same settings will apply. So it's not based on an object. Okay, let's go a little bit more down. Okay, we can call it click preview. You can see where's our line going. Okay, right here. And again, this is sometimes hard to see. It's why we can start using our highlighters. Okay, to change color, you just right click, hold down your button mouse, and move to the color you want your highlighter. So it's much easier to see right now what position for our layer. You can go even more down, right on the bottom. And I don't like this sharp line, so I'm going to increase fuzziness on the top. You can see right now how it's will be going slightly grass go inside of our mountain. Okay, we also can modify on a slope range. So I don't want, for example, my grass will be on very sharp edges, so I want to be on a flat. I'm going towards this area, right, maybe around here, just slightly increasing. Okay, we cannot see at this point. We can increase a little bit more. So preview, and right here you can see it's a little bit more on the flat areas. So maybe a little bit too hard. I'm going to increase a little bit more on the slopes. And you can see our grass kind of start going on the flatter areas, and on those steep mountains doesn't display. So I think this is okay for now. And I'm leaving the grass like that. So this is one preset. Now I want to apply snow to my mountains. So let's go ahead, and if I create the layer, it will create just above the rock. So I create run grass, click new, we'll select the snow, let's click OK. On a snow, one thing you'll notice on a rock we have alpha boost in one place. On a snow it's right here, so let's go ahead and reset to 0 so we have it all covered. As well, an environment, I want opposite. I want actual snow going on the top a little bit. Okay, let's make a fuzziness on the bottom. It's kind of nice mix. But again, our sun is going from our right side. So I want kind of snow maybe melting right here on those areas and a little bit less on the flat. So we're going to move from the flat areas snow. Okay, again, it's kind of preview how it's going. Make this flatter area so it doesn't have very sharp edges. Okay, and next we're going with this orientation. So let's go ahead and move adjustment and tightness. So let's set maybe to about 90 degrees. Okay, and at 90 degrees, if we preview, you can see where it's like hit it right here. So it's from other side. It's about right where I want to create it. Maybe, you know what, all 9 degrees. So let's go ahead. We can rotate and you can kind of preview. And some previews areas, if you look right on your location that not necessarily will represent material selection. So we yes, readjusting a little bit more. I think it is was about 9% was one of the positioning with the sun, so we can still kind of have cover in the shadow areas, a little bit more of the snow. Okay, but again, hard lines, and for this we need used fuzziness, so we'll go pop up that option. Okay, and maybe a little bit losing the tightness with the material. Okay, let's preview. So right here we start having our snow melted on the sunny side, and we have it a little bit better going into other areas. Okay, we can again slightly reposition, and you can see we get kind of nice applied. Sometimes you cannot, like right here, snow look a little bit grayish. So for the snow, I like to increase a little bit more lighting. So we'll bring clear look. So pop up a little bit more with a lighting reflection, like on real snow. So we set with environment, we control position for our snow, altitude. You saw the slope range. We also remove a little bit from flat areas and orientation. So we want to display on specific side. Same with our grass. As example, we gone a little bit more this way. We could actually take our grass and more position on the sunny side and less on another ones. And sometimes you can work a little bit even with color, similar ways. So we can create another grass layer. Okay, let's do this. Let's go create new grass layer, and for this layer 0. One thing you will notice, we kind of need to copy these settings for our grass. So let me go ahead. Okay, and one thing, because the grass is one layer over another one, so it's kind of for like Photoshop layers, one is override another. So I'm going to change a little bit of the color. Notice I don't change overall color for my I'm changing the overall, kind of like filtering my colors. So if I want to create darker or a little bit more desaturated, maybe like old looking grass, so I can create, just adjust overall color, like filtering over. Okay, so we've done this one. Let's go in the environment, and this one I want actually similar, so we'll create a bit fuzzy right here. Old grass, and if we enable our highlighter, we can preview grass right now located on all of those slopes. Okay, I want the grass maybe creating in a shadow areas, so I'm going on prefer orientation, something similar to right here. Let's make fuzziness. A little bit more tight. Okay, adjusting, and sometimes just a couple percent will do nice. So we'll select this, and if we preview, you can notice our brighter grass right here, and in areas where the less sunny, kind of older grass we position. So we start adding those details, and again, because it's a layering, we have our rock material on the bottom, so it's going everywhere. Next, we have our grass, and we have our grass with patches overlay. If we change position, this grass will override because we do not control some position of this grass according to the orientation. Okay, well done. Here again, the more you play with this, kind of more fun you have it. We're done with this material, so let's create mountain material. The next step, what I actually recommend you to do is go ahead and click and save your material so you can use it in the future for your other maybe applications you applied, so for other objects. And one thing, when you save it, if you select just this layer and save, you will save just only this layer by itself. So to save all materials, you actually need to go to the top, select, and click save on this. So let's go ahead and save right now. Okay, so I'm selecting right here and click save. And at this point, it saved my material. So next time, if I'm going and I create a different material, let's say, can I creating and reset maybe to different mountain look. Here, maybe just stretching a little bit more, so we have it like on a background almost. Okay, positioning. Okay, and now when I'm going to load my materials, I just need to go inside and click on the browse for the file. Okay, we'll select our material, we just save it, click open, and all of this work that we was creating now, it's saved and loaded on our other terrain. So you can see how it's useful to have it your own library, pre-built materials, and also apply them. If you just work, you don't necessarily sometimes want to save. You can right click, copy material, go to your other object, right click and paste the material. So you can do inside the application. The save is help you when you work in a close your program, create new project, and in this case you can reuse it. But if you just do inside, you can always copy and paste those materials between objects very easy. So right here we created, let's just maybe move slightly this way. Okay, we have this ugly looking ground, so let's select the ground, again terrain, right click copy. If I don't want to go and open, I can go and preload it. I also can just paste my material. The one nice thing is, because we work with altitude, notice we have the grass which was on a lower altitude now applied. Because we don't have a higher altitude for this, we don't have any snow or other effect applied. So this is very useful when you start working with the settings based like on a world mapping or object mapping, so the kind of materials will nicely blend together. We'll just go preloaded some atmosphere for this. Okay, maybe going now final, and let's go ahead and render our first project. So I will pause this tutorials for the second, and I'll come back when the render is complete. Okay, so right here is done. It took about a minute to render, and you can see with the lighting, we created our terrains very fast and created our own custom materials just specifically for your purpose, and we apply it in render. So you can experiment a little bit more with this, see what other materials you can create it, and it's way more options available there. We won't go directly, and then we'll more explore of those materials during our next projects. I think it's kind of a little bit easy to remember when you actually work with something, produce result, and in this case you discover new and new options with the Vue applications. Thank you for watching this tutorial from Geekatplay Studio. Please remember, visit us on the web is www.geekatplay.com.